I'd like to talk with you about a handful of progressions. What is a progression? I'm going to read that to you since you asked. Progression is an underlying organization which gives shape or movement to the idea of a lyric. That is, a lyric with a progression will take the listener on a journey from the beginning of the song through some action, some change, some drama, some conflict, some inflammation of conflict, some resolution, and deliver them to an end that's completely different from the beginning, or at least measurably different from the beginning. I'd like to look at 5 tried and true progressions. There's plenty more, but the first 2 in particular will cover the bulk of a lot of musical theater songs. And once you get a handle on these 5, you'll feel like, oh, I got it, and you'll start to create your own progressions. Each of these is supple enough that you can hang a lot of songs on these 5. So I'm going to do a quick overview of these 5, and then I will follow that later with examples. I'm just going to show you these. So these 5 are problem solution, viewpoint, calendar, pronoun, and geography. Let's start with problem solution. If an AABA corresponds to beginning, middle, and then the B section is something else, and then an end, AABA, the first A states the problem. The second A explores why it is a problem. Then the B section explores possible solutions, maybe just one solution, maybe a handful of solutions, and then the final A takes the character to take an action, to make a decision. Like, for instance, in the first A, I've just committed a crime. Maybe I've robbed someone, maybe I've killed something, and so that's the first A section. I've committed a crime. And then the next A is, the police are after me. That's a problem. It's a problem. Here's my problem. I committed a crime. So why is that a problem? Well, the police are after me. So now I'm in the B section. What can I do about it? I could run. I could, turn, et cetera. And then the final A, I could take, what can I do? I'm going to turn myself in. All right? State the problem. Why is it a problem? Possible solution. Take an action. There's a progression called viewpoint, in which you basically state your thesis. This is what I believe. I think this. And that will cover the territory of the first A. In the second A, you'll maybe elaborate on that. Furthermore, or this is why I think it. Because, if you stick the word because at the beginning of the second A, you'll see how that stanza will imply furthermore-ness. Furthermore-ness? Yes, don't look it up. It's not in any dictionary. You can have that word. Then the B section is, on the other hand, contrast. Here's something I didn't think about. Maybe the other viewpoint that I rejected. But the end of the B section delivers the character right back to, and this is why I believe, or that's why I say. So for instance, in the first A, I think you and I are over. I think we're done, right? This is what I believe. I believe we're done. The next section, furthermore, because you cheated. You cheated on me. Then the B section, but, on the other hand, but I want to stay. And then the final A, but this is why I say I'm leaving. I think you and I are over because you cheated. I want to stay, but I'm leaving. That's a viewpoint kind of progression. Let's look at the time progression, past, present, and future. This one's pretty straightforward. Doesn't take a lot of elaboration to understand. The first A could correspond to past, and then the next A would be present. Then the B section contrasts 2 eras, maybe past to future, or present to future, or present to past, that kind of thing. And then the final A explores the future. Like, for instance, the first A, past. I used to hate you. Then the second A, which is about the present. But my feelings have changed. I feel differently from what I used to. Then comparing two eras in the B section. Can we put the past behind us now? Can we put what was behind us behind us? And then the future. Maybe we can be friends. Maybe we can be lovers. Maybe there's a future for us. Two more. Let's look at another slight variation of time, the calendar or the clock progression. Again, pretty straightforward. You can go from spring to summer, and then the B section is autumn, and then to winter. Like, for instance, we met in the spring, and that's what the A is. Right? We call, we met in the springtime. We met. And then the next A, the second A is in summer. Oh, it was wonderful. And then the B section, but then things got rocky in the autumn. Something went wrong in that autumn, huh? Right? Weather changed, and so did they. And then the final A is wintertime. I'm cold and I'm lonely this winter. Or you could do, a shorter time period, like morning, afternoon, and then evening. And in that B section, you'd oscillate between, man, at the end of the day, I look forward to the mornings, or something like that. You can compare two different time zones. Here's an example of that. For this to A section, this is the morning. Things were great this morning, but then in the next A, then this afternoon, I found out about you and that other person. And so in the B section, this is the longest day of my life. Do you see how that time is the B section is comparing to right now is the longest time period I've ever had. It's comparing now to another time period. And then that final A, evening. My first evening without you in years. Then the last one I want to talk about here is the pronoun progression. It's straightforward to explain. You basically switch pronouns from each section. It's a little tricky in its application. But for instance, the first A is all about I. I this, I that, I this, I that. And then you hold off the introduction of another pronoun until the second A. And then, I this, and then the second A, but then you entered my life. And then in the B section, you explore the relationship. I did this, you did this, I did this, and then perhaps in the final A, you become an us, or maybe there's a him or a her that enters a third character into the relationship. So here's an example. The first A would be, I was fine on my own. I was wonderful. I did this. I was happy. I did that. And then the next A is, and then I met you, and you did this, and I did this, and you did this, and then the B section, you turned my world inside out. So that's you and me together in a relationship, exploring the relationship. And then the final A is, we are our own universe. And lastly, geographic progressions. The idea here is in the first A to start in one place, and then in the next A, go to another place, continue the journey in the B section, and wind up in a different location entirely at the final A. This can be a geographic in place on a map, starting in your home, going to the office, getting to the airport, and winding up in a different country. But it also could be on the body, say, for instance, going from the eyes to the nose to the mouth to the heart, or something like that. Right? So if that is enough explanation for you to feel like, got it, I'm good to go, good on you. If you want to go through with me some examples, both from classical and contemporary musical songs, that's coming up.